This conference will now be recorded.
Now, let me start the today's session. Again, I am requesting everyone, please make sure that your mics must be in the mute mode throughout the session. Now, if you know the answers, please respond to the following questions. To communicate, question number 1, to communicate with computer, which language is required? Which language is required? Which language is required? Computer language. Simple answer is computer language. Every programming language is a computer language only. Every programming language is a computer language only. Now, basically, a computer can understand what? A computer can understand what? Computer can understand what? Basically, very good. Zeros and ones. Correct. Zeros and ones. Now, language which is user friendly, a computer language which is user friendly is what type of language? What is that language? Very good. High level language. High level language is the user friendly language in which developers can feel very easy to write the programs. Now, to convert programs written in high level language into computer understandable format, dash is required. To convert programs written in high level language into computer understandable format, dash is required. Very good. Translator is required. Translator. Can you please give me some examples of translators? Anyone, can you please specify what are the examples of translators? First one, assembler is one translator, compiler is another translator, and interpreter is one more translator. Whereas assembler can convert the programs written in assembly level language into mission understandable code, means into zeros and ones. If a program is written in assembly level language, to convert that assembly level language into mission understandable code, we require a translator. That a translator is nothing but an assembler. Now, I will give you another example. I will give you one example. With that example, you have to identify whether it is a compiler or interpreter. Assume is my voice is clear? Everyone, is my voice is clear? Am I clear? One more request. Before you make any complaint to me, I am not getting voice. Please cross check whether you are having a proper internet connection or not. So I am audible to everyone. Please, before making a complaint, first check from your side whether everything is correct or not. Please cross check everything is perfect or not from your side. Now these are all examples of translator. One scenario I will give you. Anyone tell me this example will fit for which type of translator? Sir, our Prime Minister is delivering the speech in Hindi, but in my area, all people can understand only Telugu. This is the example. Prime Minister, as a part of election campaign, came to your area. Wait, my question is not completed, man. My question is not completed, but you are giving the answers. Prime Minister came to your locality as a part of election campaign. He is continuously delivering the speech in Hindi, but our people can understand only Telugu. Now in between, one translator is required. Am I correct? In between, one translator is required. Now this translator is doing a job like this. First line converted into Telugu. He took the second line, converted into Telugu. He took the third line, converted into Telugu. Fourth line into Telugu. Is it a conversion all at a time or line by line? Is this conversion all at a time or line by line? Line by line. Then this example fit for whom? Compiler or interpreter? This example fit for whom? Interpreter. Very good. Everybody is correct and you are in a right track. So now tell me, what is the major difference? What is the major difference between compiler and interpreter? Compiler and interpreter. Compiler and interpreter. Both are meant for to convert program written in high level language into mission level language. Clear, right? Both are meant for to convert a program written in high level language into mission level language. But I want differences. Let me remove this line. Let me paste it here. Now it is very clear to write all the differences between compiler and interpreter. Now have a look once. Compiler can convert the total code all at a time. Conversion all at a time. Am I correct? Total code is converted all at a time. Then it will be handed over to the computer. Then computer will start executing those instructions. Whereas in case of interpreter, line by line conversion, but not all at a time. It is a line by line conversion, but not all at a time. It is a line by line conversion, not all at a time. Now, second one. Coming to the execution speed, sir, coming to the performance, in which case programs are going to be executed very fastly. So as you all know, if I do conversion, if I start converting the total data line by line, it takes much time. So in case of compiler, you may expect a fast execution. But it is a bit slow. Sir, it is a bit slow. It is not as like as compiler. It is a very bit slow because conversion to be done line by line. So performance wise, compiled programs are very fast when compared to the interpreted programs. And another one, very important point. Listen very carefully, everyone. Very important point. Execution means, very good. Somebody is asking, sir, what is mean by execution? Assume in your computer, you want to listen some music or you want to watch one video. Suppose you want to watch one video in the YouTube, either in the mobile or in your computer. Usually what you will do, you will open one browser. Am I correct? You will open one Google Chrome browser. Sir, Google Chrome browser is also a program or a software. You have to install your Google Chrome browser in your computer or in your Android mobile. When browser is opened, means that browser is under running state. Browser is a running. That software is a running. That software is a running. When you open that browser, suppose when player is activated, that means I want to listen some music. So when player is open, now the software in the background, it is a running. That software is nothing but a program only. Program under execution is nothing but program which is under running is nothing but execution. Execution means program which is running. Are you getting my point here? So assume you have a bike. It was there in the parking place. That means it is in the parking mode. You decided you want to go for a bazaar. Or a ride. You have to start your bike. Now the bike is in the running mode. When you park your vehicle in the stand mode, that is, it is not under execution mode. When you start riding your bike, now the bike is in running mode. When the program is running, we can call it as execution. Now another very important point. Now there is a program written in C language. Sir, it is a very complex project. 1 lakh lines of code I have written. Assume 1 lakh lines of code written. Now this program is handed over to the compiler. Compiler can convert all 1 lakh lines of code into mission understandable code. Am I correct or not? Compiler can convert that total 1 lakh lines of code at a time into mission understandable. So while generating mission understandable code, you may get 1 lakh lines, or you may get even 2 to 5 lakh lines of code also. Just for understanding sake, I am using the same number. So assume this much huge amount of the code, compiler is going to be stored in a separate file. It is going to be separated. It is going to be saved to a separate file. That a file usually having an extension .exe. Are you getting my point here? Sir, this is my actual program. Containing 1 lakh lines of code. When it is handed over to the compiler generated a mission understandable code. That mission understandable code may contain 1 lakh or 5 lakh lines of code, I don't know. But this total code will be saved to some file. Usually that file extension will be .ext. Extension means what? Generally, when you want to save your resume, you typed something, your resume, you want to save that to a file. We will name that file like a resume, something called a resume.doc will come, because it is Word document. Sir, it is a Word document. Sir, this is a .doc, it is called extension name. For C programs, extension name is C. For Java programs, extension name is .java. For Python programs, extension name is .py. For mission understandable files, generally the extension will be .exe file. Now, whether you observed or not, I don't know. This is the program designed by me and it is saved in separate file. Assume the name of the file is first.c. So assume the name of the file is first.c, which we can call it as a source code. When you open that source code, or when you open that file, 1 lakh lines of code is there. When handed over to the compiler, after compilation, converted into mission understandable code, contains a huge amount of the code. saved to a file with some extension called .exe with the name called first only. Whatever the name you have given to your program, with the same name, another file is generated. Now my question is, in case of compiler, some additional file is generated or not? This is my question. Everyone, can you please answer my question? Some additional file is created along with our source code. Yes or no? Anyone tell me? In case of compilation, compiler is going to generate one additional file or not? Remember, whereas in case of interpreter, this stupid work is not there. Sir, this file is not going to be generated. This file is not going to be generated. I hope everyone understood what is the another difference between compiler and interpreter. In case of compiler, mission understandable code will be saved to a file. So here no file is generated. Sir, no file is generated in case of interpreter, but in case of compiler, some additional file is generated that contains mission understandable code. Now I have another question. Sir, assume in my C program, the number of instructions are 1 crore. 1 crore. To store 1 crore instructions, assume I saved this code to a file. Size of the file is 1 GB. Sir, assume file is 1 GB. After compilation, the mission understandable code may contain either 1 crore or 3 crores. Assume, sir, either 1 crore or 3 crores. Now these 3 crore lines of instructions must be saved to some other file or not? Definitely. Now again, this file is going to occupy some memory or not? The size of the file may be 3 GB or 4 GB or 5 GB. I am not sure. It may be 3 GB or 4 GB or 5 GB. Now tell me, now 3 GB or 4 GB or 5 GB, like if it is going to occupy at certain time or certain point, memory problem may be raised. There may be a chance. If your source code is a very huge file, contains too many lines of code, 1 crore, 10 crores, 20 crores, assume like, if your source code contains too many lines of instructions, which will take a very huge amount of memory, even after compilation also, mission code is generated that will be saved to another file that will take some memory again. Now, what is the problem with the compiler? Anyone tell me what is the problem? There may be a chance, but not all times. There may be a chance memory problems will be erased. Memory problems may come. There may be a chance memory problems may come. Here no question of memory problems, because sir, when memory problem will come? Whenever file is generated. But after interpretation, no file is generated, so there is no question of memory problem. These many differences are more than sufficient to understand what is a compiler and what is an interpreter. Now, shall we move to the next one? Can I start the next topic? Everyone, are you comfortable up to this point? Now, before moving to the next one, sir, generally softwares are of general scenario, two types: system software and application software. System software and application software. Sir, what is a software? First of all, what is a software? What is a software? Software is a collection of programs. What is a program? Sir, program is a collection of instructions. Program is a collection of instructions. Software is a set of programs. A program is a collection of instructions. Now, what is a system software and what is an application software? If you want to understand what is the meaning of exact meaning of system software and application software, very simple. If I want to type something, I want to show you with the typing, just by typing, I want to demonstrate my lecture. Every day I used some software called Edit Plus software. Sir, I am using some software which name is or whose name is Edit Plus software. Sir, using this software, it is easy for me to type and to show you something so that you people can understand what I am teaching. So to type something, you require some text editor. Am I correct? You require one software called text editor. Sir, it is called a text editor. Sir, using text editor, we can type something. Text editor is a software. Sir, text editor is a software. To meet your requirements, sir, this is my requirement. I want to type and I want to show you as it is when the live session is going on. Whatever I am delivering, my speech, I want to convert into the text and I want to show you for every participant of the today's session. I require one software. This is my requirement. So to meet your requirements, generally some softwares are available. Those softwares are nothing but application softwares. Sir, assume what is my another requirement? I want to listen music. Sir, listening music is my requirement. For this, what is required? Some music player is required. Am I correct or not? Sir, some music player. Can you please install music player and load the music and happily you can enjoy the music. Sir, that music player is a kind of application software. Now, sir, I want to watch videos. Why don't you install the video player? Sir, with the video player, we could able to listen audio as well as we can watch the video also. So these are all my requirements. Sir, I want to draw something. Why don't you use another software called Paint? Sir, using Paint software, you can draw any object. You can draw anything. Sir, I want to present something. Sir, tomorrow some seminar is going on. I want to present myself. Some topic I want to present. Why don't you prepare PowerPoint presentation? For that, what is required? A PowerPoint software is required. So with all these softwares, happily we can fulfill our needs. Do you want to listen the music? It is your requirement. Do you want to watch the videos? Do you want to paint something? Do you want to type something? So whenever user wants to, when you want to meet the needs of user, then we require certain kind of softwares. Those softwares are called as application softwares. Now observe that. One simple example I want to tell. To operate a bus, to operate a train, to operate a helicopter, any vehicle, who is mandatory? Driver is mandatory. Am I correct? Driver. Without a driver, we can't usually operate a vehicle. Whether you want to go right side or left side, do you want to take U-turn? Do you want to speed up the vehicle? Do you want to go in backward direction or in forward direction? Whatever may be. So definitely some driver is required. Some driver is required. So driver will have control over all the components of that vehicle. Whoever driving the vehicle, whoever operating the bus, whoever operating the train, he will have control over all the components of that particular vehicle. Like that, in your computer also, so many hardware components are there. Sir, so many hardware components are there, like your keyboard, like your display unit, like your so many other input devices like a printer. In order to have some control over all the hardware components in your computer, yes, hard disk, like to have a control over all the hardware components of a computer, we require one software. That software we can call it as a operating system. The name itself indicating that this software is meant for to have control over all the hardware components of a computer. Such a type of software is a system software. Such a type of software is a system software. So to meet the needs of a computer, sir, to meet the needs of a computer, if any software is designed, such a kind of software is a system software. To meet the needs of a user, if any software is designed, it is an application software. It is an application software. Now, I will tell you one example. Anyone tell me whether it will come under system software or application software? Sir, I went to a hotel, ordered my food items. I got some printed bill. The bill was printed, not manual. How it is possible? Because that hotel management installed one software. In their computer. They installed one software. Now tell me, for what purpose this software is developed? Is it for system purpose or our purpose? Sir, this is my requirement. Without manual bill, while doing billing system manually, there may be a chance wrong calculation may come. To avoid such a kind of thing, we have gone for automatic system. This is for my purpose, not for system purpose. Now tell me, everyone, will it come under system software or application software? System software or application software? Excellent, correct, application software. Now one more example. Have you ever observed or not, I don't know, you bought a pen drive. Assume you bought a pen drive, new pen drive. Someone enabled the mic. Assume you bought a new pen drive or a printer. Assume new printer you purchased. When printer is connected to your computer, have you ever observed that in the notification tray, one message will come, detecting driver for printer? How many of you observed this? Whenever a new device is connected to your computer, whether it may be pen drive or any new device, any printer, any other gadget, when it is connected to your computer, computer first will try to recognize, try to find out software, the software. Then you know what will happen when a new device is connected to your computer. When a new device is connected to your computer, computer will search for device driver. Sir, computer will search for device driver. Sir, what is a device driver? Device driver is a software. Sir, device driver is a software. Whenever printer is connected to your computer, First, computer will try to find out the device driver. Once that software is installed in your computer, then automatically printer will come under the control of this computer. A new hardware component is connected to me. If I want to bring that printer under my control, I want one software. Now tell me, this is whose requirement? My requirement or computer requirement? To bring a printer, is it under my control or computer controller? Not my control. Am I going to print? No. Computer has to bring that new device under his control. Our display unit, keyboard, mouse, motherboard, hard disk, etc. These are all under the control of whom? Under the control of computer only. Under the control of computer only. Are you getting my point here? Just 1 minute, let me speak in Telugu. మీరు ఏదైనా ఒక కొత్త డివైస్ ని కంప్యూటర్ కనెక్ట్ చేశారనుకోండి, అసలు ఆ డివైస్ ఎవరు, ఆ డివైస్ తో నేను ఎలా వర్క్ చేయాలి, దాని కథా కమామిషి ఏంటి, దాన్ని నా కంట్రోల్లోకి ఎలా తెచ్చుకోవాలి అని కంప్యూటర్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఆ డివైస్ కి సంబంధించిన సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఏమైనా ఉందా లేదా అని చెక్ చేస్తుంది. వన్స్ ఆ డివైస్ కి సంబంధించిన సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇన్స్టాల్ అయితే నువ్వు కనెక్ట్ చేసిన న్యూ కాంపోనెంట్ కంప్యూటర్ కంట్రోల్లోకి వస్తుంది. సార్ కంప్యూటర్ కంట్రోల్లోకి ఎందుకు రావాలి అంటే, కంప్యూటర్ ఈజ్ ద డ్రైవర్, యాక్చువల్ డ్రైవర్ who will operate all the hardware components connected to your computer. So to recognize that particular device, నువ్వు ఏదైతే కొత్తగా కొని కనెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నావో డివైస్, దాన్ని రికగ్నైజ్ చేయడానికి కూడా ఒక సాఫ్ట్వేర్ కావాలి. ఈ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఎవరికి హెల్ప్ అవుతుంది? నాకేమి హెల్ప్ అవ్వదు. సిస్టము ఆ డివైస్ ని తన కంట్రోల్లోకి తెచ్చుకోవడానికి హెల్ప్ అవుతుంది. కాబట్టి ఈజ్ ది సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఈజ్ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు మీట్ ద నీడ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఏ కంప్యూటరా, to meet the needs of a user? It is meant for to meet the needs of a computer. So device driver is an example of system software. Device driver is a example of system software. One more example, operating system is one example, device driver is one example, another one, all your translators also system softwares only. Your assembler, compiler, interpreter, all these will come under system software. Now generally to develop system softwares, listen this point very carefully everyone. Generally in olden days, to develop any type of system software, whether it may be operating system or it may be device driver or any translator, usually when you want to develop any operating system, we should have some control at a memory level. Don't ask me what is control at memory level. At this point of time, maybe you may not understand even though if I give explanation. To develop some operating system, we should have some control over at a memory level. I want to perform certain operation at a memory level. To perform such kind of operations at memory level, usually low level language is highly preferable. Which language is highly preferable? Low level language. Sir, why usually low level languages are preferable? Because to have some control at memory level, to work with memory addresses, generally low level languages are highly recommended. So usually system softwares are developed generally by using low level languages. Using low level languages we can develop system softwares. I think I need not to tell you. So these are kind of application softwares. So application softwares are generally developed or implemented by using high level languages. Now yesterday some student asked me, sir, is that a C language? Sir, is that a C language is a low level or high level? C language is a what type of language? C language is a what type of language? Is a middle level language. generally middle level language. In the textbooks, you can find some answer like this. Now, 1,000 doubts will come immediately. Sir, at the time of learning, my course by Pawan sir, he didn't cover, he covered only low level and high level, but he didn't speak even a single word about middle level. What is the meaning of middle level? Like n number of doubts will come into your mind. When let me finish. What is the middle level language? Let me tell you. You know, today if time permits, we are going to discuss very briefly about history of C language also. Very interesting point it was. We are going to discuss even history of C language also. So very interesting one it was, if time permits. You know, after developing C language, after completed, the C language was when completely developed by Dennis Ritchie and released into the market in the year 1972. You know which software was first developed? Anyone, do you have any idea? Anyone in the batch, do you have any idea? When C language was released into the market in the year 1972 by Dennis Ritchie, do you have any idea which software was developed? B language? No, wrong. Unix operating system. Unix operating system, not PDP, not Java. Unix operating system was completely redesigned. Already Unix operating system was developed already, but it was rewritten completely. It was rewritten completely by using C language. Sir, what is Unix? Unix is a operating system. Sir, Unix is a operating system. Operating system is a type of which software? System software. Sir, just now I said that system softwares are generally developed by using which type of language? Low level language. Sir, low level language. Sir, usually low level language will enable you to perform certain operations at a memory level or at address level. So using C language, we can operate the data at a memory level. So C language is having certain low level features. సో ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నుంచి మీకు ఏమర్థం అవుతుంది? సి లాంగ్వేజ్ డెవలప్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఆల్రెడీ మార్కెట్లో యునిక్స్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఉంది. యునిక్స్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని మొత్తాన్ని రీబిల్డ్ చేశారు. ఒక ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని రీబిల్డ్ చేశారు, యునిక్స్ అనే ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్. సో ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ అనేది ఏ టైప్ ఆఫ్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్? సిస్టమ్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్. జనరల్ గా సిస్టమ్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్స్ ని ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ తో డెవలప్ చేస్తారు అనుకున్నాం? లో లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజ్. So from this discussion, what we came to know that C language will come under low level, but later with the same C language, we can develop even games also. Now tell me, game is also a software or not? Game is also a software. So game is required for system, it is for user. Game is required for system, for user. For myself to play something to meet my requirement, I developed a game. So it is a kind of application software. Sir, it is a kind of application software. Application softwares are generally developed by using high level. So what is your conclusion? C language contains the features of both low level and high language. C language contains features of both low level and high level, both low level and high level. That is the reason C language is also called as a middle level language. Now 1 minute, just 1 minute, let me show you what are the applications that we can develop with C language. One minute, everyone. So okay, no problem, leave it, tomorrow I will show you. So C language contains both low level and high level programming features. That is the reason it is also called as a middle level language. Middle level language. Now everyone tell me, now do you got the clarity why it is called as a middle level language? Why it is called as a middle level language? Do you got the clarity? Now, do you know who is the father of C language? Who is the father of C language? Dennis M. Ritchie. And C language was released into the market officially in the year 1972. Whereas C++ was John Stroudstrup. Java was by James Gosling. Whereas Python by Guido van Rossum. Father of C language was Dennis M. Ritchie, and it was officially released into the market in the year 1972. Dennis Ritchie actually is working in a company, very famous company. The name of the company is AT&T Bell Laboratories, located in the United States of America. So AT&T Bell Laboratories located in the United States of America. Sir, what is the mean by AT&T? Means American Telephone and Telegraph. American Telephone and Telegraph Bell Laboratories. Have you heard about this company? Anyone? Have you heard about this company? After completion of this session, you can text in the Google also. So much information you are going to get. Sir, it is a company named for world class inventions. ప్రపంచం మొత్తం గర్వించదగ్గ చాలా కొత్త పరికరాల్ని సమాజానికి పరిచయం చేసినటువంటి ఒక పెద్ద కంపెనీ. వరల్డ్ క్లాస్ ఇన్వెన్షన్స్. దిస్ కంపెనీ ఈజ్ నేమ్డ్, got a reputation because of its world class inventions. Sir, what are the things, what are the objects developed by this Bell Laboratories? Like if you ask me, telephone, sir, telephone, and so many things like a transistor, laser, communication satellites, solar cells, etc. So many things, so many objects, so many devices, so many inventions under this company called AT&T, American Telephone and Telegraph, where Dennis M. Ritchie is a employee of this AT&T Bell Laboratories. Now, very briefly, we are going to see the history of C language. Do you know, in 1961, 3 companies are merged to work upon a project. 3 MNC companies. MNC means multinational companies. Sir, 3 multinational companies are merged to work upon a project. Those companies are MIT, General Electronics, and Bell Laboratories. Sir, in 1961, they want to develop one beautiful operating system, and they named the project as a Multics operating system. They named the project as a Multics. They want to name, if they were succeeded, they don't know whether they are succeeded or not. They want to name that operating system as a Multics operating system. Multiplexed information and computing services. The full form of Multics is nothing but multiplexed information and computing services. 1961 లో ఒక 3 MNC కంపెనీస్ కలిపి ఒక పెద్ద ప్రాజెక్ట్ ని అండర్టేక్ చేసింది. వాళ్ళ ఎయిమ్ ఏంటంటే మార్కెట్ లోకి ఒక కొత్త రకమైన ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని రిలీజ్ చేయాలి అని. సో దే నేమ్డ్ ద ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఆల్సో, బట్ దే డోంట్ నో వెదర్ దే వర్ సక్సీడెడ్ ఆర్ నాట్. The name of that operating system is a Multics. Multiplexed information and computing service. Sir, this is the full form of Multics. But in the year 1969, you know what happened? In the year 1969, Bell Laboratory came out from the project. Bell Laboratory withdraw support. Sir, within the span of 8 years, Bell Laboratories invested lot of amount and a lot of manpower. Sir, in this 8 years span, while developing this project, Bell Laboratories invested very huge amount of the money and spend huge even work also. Some manpower. They invested huge amount of money and manpower. But some conclusion they took actually. They want to withdraw support. They want to withdraw from this project. అప్పటికే కొన్ని వందల కోట్లు లేకపోతే కొన్ని కోట్ల రూపాయలు ఖర్చు పెట్టేశారు. చాలా మందిని ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ లో బెల్ లాబొరేటరీస్ లో వర్క్ చేసే ఎంప్లాయీస్ ని కూడా ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ లో ఇన్వాల్వ్ చేసి 8 years కష్టపడ్డ ఈ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ కి ఒక ఫైనల్ ఫ్రేమ్ రావట్లేదు. సో దే వర్ నాట్ సక్సీడెడ్ ఇన్ డెవలపింగ్ ద మల్టిక్స్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్. సో దే డిసైడెడ్ టు come out of the project. And all the employees who worked on this project, again they come back and they joined in the Bell Laboratories as it is. Now the story was started. Now the actual story was started. So in that project, there are two computer scientists are there, Ken Thompson and another person, Dennis M. Ritchie, and some other team members. Almost they worked on this project for 8 years. Am I correct or not? From 1961 to 1969, these are all the employees of the Bell Laboratories, and they worked for 8 years on this developing this operating system called Multics operating system. Now they got some thought. Do you know what is the thought? So they requested their management, sir, why don't we develop our own operating system? Already we got a lot of knowledge. We involved at several stages in developing the operating system. We have a lot of knowledge. Why don't we develop our own operating system like? So they requested the management, and they started developing one operating system, and they were succeeded in developing the operating system, and they were struck to what name they have to give to that operating system. Are you getting my point here? 8 years కష్టపడి బెల్ లాబొరేటరీస్ ఇప్పటికి మనం చాలా ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేసాం, చాలా మంది ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఇన్వాల్వ్ చేసాం. ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఫైనల్ కి రాలేకపోతుందని మొత్తాన్ని సపోర్ట్ ని విత్డ్రా చేసిన తర్వాత టీమ్ ఆఫ్ మెంబర్స్ కలిసి ఏం చేశారు, మనమే ఒక కొత్త ప్రాజెక్ట్ ని ఎందుకు డిజైన్ చేయకూడదు, మనమే ఎందుకు ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని డిజైన్ చేయకూడదు. 8 years లో మనకి లాట్ ఆఫ్ నాలెడ్జ్ వచ్చింది. ఈ నాలెడ్జ్ తో మనమే ఒక కొత్త ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ డిజైన్ చేద్దాం అనుకునే లోపల మార్కెట్ లోకి ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఎంటర్ అయిపోయింది. ఒక ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఎంటర్ అయిపోయింది. That name of the operating system already became very popular, is nothing but a Multics only. It is their bad luck. Sir, when they completely removed the support and they have come out of their project, for the next couple of years, Multics operating system was already entered into the market and it will become a big grand success. But Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie, some other team members worked together and they developed some new operating system, another operating system they developed. Now they were stuck to what name they have to assign for that new operating system, and they decided to name that as a Unix operating system. This is the spelling, UNICS. Sir, what is Unix? Uniplexed Information and Computing Service. Whereas this operating system is a multitasking. And this operating system is a single tasking, not multitasking. Sir, what is multitasking? Suppose I am delivering my lecture, you are listening my class, at the same time in another hand, with the another hand you are watching WhatsApp messages. That means you are doing another task also. At the same time you are handling WhatsApp, in one hand you are handling my class, and you are talking your mother also. You are talking to your mother also. Is it not multitasking? Same person is doing more than one job. So like that, this operating system is a multitasking operating system. We can do multiple jobs at a time. But whereas the new operating system developed by these people named Unix operating system, unfortunately it is not multitasking, it is unitasking, or it is a single tasking operating system. Sir, it is a single task operating system. Single task operating system. Do you got the clarity now? Up to this, any doubt? Up to this, any doubt? అర్థమైందా ఇంతవరకు అందరికి? Can I continue for another 5 minutes? Can I continue for another 5 minutes? Right? Now, you know what is the problem they have? Actually, do you know what is the problem they did? Every time simply texting me, sir, please repeat. It is not a 5 minutes explanation or 2 minutes explanation. Listen the class very clearly. If you ask me, keep on asking. Again this concept repeat once. Again this concept repeat once. If I keep on repeating every topic, it will take 3 to 4 months to finish the total syllabus. So when I am delivering the lecture, please concentrate. Please concentrate. Whether you are watching any TV or whether you are operating any WhatsApp or operating your mobile phone, I don't know. But after doing your task, you will come back to the session and simply you are texting me, sir, can you please repeat the total story once again? Right? So what is the overall story? AT&T Bell Laboratories, a very big company for and famous for worldwide inventions like telephone, transistor, laser, communication satellites and solar cells. Story was started in which year? 1961. So with which project they started? So 3 companies are merged and they started working on one big project called Multix operating system. 3 కంపెనీలు కలిసి ఒక ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ డిజైన్ చేయాలని డిసైడ్ చేసింది. ఏంటి ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఏంటి? మల్టిక్స్, మల్టీప్లెక్స్డ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అండ్ కంప్యూటింగ్ సర్వీస్. Among the 3 companies, Bell Laboratories invested a huge amount and invested a huge manpower. But even after 8 years also, the project didn't come to one stage. The project didn't come to some final stage. So these people are completely vexed and they withdraw support. 8 సంవత్సరాలు కష్టపడ్డ తర్వాత కూడా ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఒక కొలిక్కి రాకపోయేసరికి బెల్ లాబొరేటరీస్ ఏం చేసింది? సో నేను కంటిన్యూ చేయలేను, నా వల్ల కాదు అని బెల్ లాబొరేటరీస్ ఎగ్జిట్ అయిపోయింది. బట్ అప్పటికే 8 years నుంచి ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ లో వర్క్ చేస్తున్న ఎంప్లాయీస్ దే హ్యావ్ గెయిన్డ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ నాలెడ్జ్. నౌ దే రిక్వెస్టెడ్ ద మేనేజ్మెంట్, sir, why don't we develop our own operating system? We gained a lot of knowledge and finally they succeeded in developing one operating system called Unix operating system. Final గా ఒక యూనిక్స్ అనే ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని డిజైన్ చేసి మార్కెట్ లో రిలీజ్ చేద్దాం అనుకునే లోపల మార్కెట్ లో ఆల్రెడీ ఒక పాపులర్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ వచ్చేసింది. వాట్ ఇస్ దట్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్? మల్టిక్స్. What is the difference between Multix and Unix? Multix is a multitasking. Unix is a unitasking. That means this operating system can handle only one task at a time, whereas this Multix operating system can handle multiple jobs at a time. Multiple jobs at a time. Then, so they started analyzing themselves. What is the problem they did? They faced n number of problems in developing this Unix operating system. Actually, they used assembly level language. Actually, they used which language? Assembly level language to implement this Unix operating system. But they felt very, very difficult at a certain stage. They felt very, very difficult to proceed further to develop and to make it a final stage. They felt very difficult. Then they started searching for, is there any programming language available in the market to develop the Unix operating system? Then so they came to know that at that time there is a most popular programming language is there, BCPL. So Unix operating system ni final stage ki తీసుకొచ్చే లోపల చాలా స్ట్రగుల్స్ ని ఫేస్ చేశారు. ఏంటి ఆ స్ట్రగుల్స్ ఏంటంటే, సో బై మిస్టేక్ దే హావ్ చూజన్ అసెంబ్లీ లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజ్. సో ఈ లాంగ్వేజ్ తో చాలా స్ట్రగుల్స్ ని ఫేస్ చేసి ఒక సర్టైన్ స్టేజ్ లో అసెంబ్లీ లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ని వదిలేసి ఏదైనా ఒక ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ తో మనం ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని డెవలప్ చేద్దామని చూస్తే ఆ టైంలో వాళ్ళకి మార్కెట్ లో ఉన్న ఒక పాపులర్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఏంటి? BCPL, బేసిక్ కంబైన్డ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్. But at certain point the team came to know that BCPL is not fit. It is unfit. It is unfit. BCPL is not a suitable language to develop our operating system called Unix operating system. They decided BCPL is not correct. Then the person Ken Thompson, who is already involved in this operating system development, he developed one language called B language. ఈ యునిక్స్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ని అసెంబ్లీ లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ తో స్టార్ట్ చేసి దాన్ని కంటిన్యూ చేయలేక బీసీపీఎల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ని సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకొని ఇది కూడా మనకి సూటబుల్ కాదు అని డిసైడ్ అయ్యాక ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ లో ఉన్న ఒక పర్సన్ ఒక లాంగ్వేజ్ ని డెవలప్ చేశాడు బీసీపీఎల్ సపోర్ట్ తో. వాట్ ఇస్ దట్ లాంగ్వేజ్? బి లాంగ్వేజ్. వాట్ ఇస్ ద లాంగ్వేజ్? బి లాంగ్వేజ్. సో దే డిసైడెడ్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ దిస్ యునిక్స్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ బై యూజింగ్ బి లాంగ్వేజ్. Unfortunately, they were failed in developing Unix operating system even with B language also. They were failed. They faced so many struggles even with the B language also because of some features that are available in the B language. So they couldn't able to complete this Unix operating system. Then our hero entered into the scenario, Dennis Ritchie, by making so many changes to the language called B language, and he released a new language called NB. NB means new B language. B language లో ఉన్న ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఏంటి, ప్రతి ప్రాబ్లం కి ఒక సొల్యూషన్ ని ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేస్తూ ఒక కొత్త లాంగ్వేజ్ ని కనుక్కున్నాడు. NB లాంగ్వేజ్, న్యూ బి లాంగ్వేజ్, న్యూ బి లాంగ్వేజ్. Later, before releasing that language into the year in 1972, that new B language was named as C language. Sir, when before it is going to be released into the market in the year 1972, that new B language was renamed as C language. Finally, that Unix operating system was completely rewritten by using C programming language, and it was renamed as Unix to Unix. And it was renamed as Unix to Unix, and they made this one as a multitasking operating system. And they made this operating system as a multitasking operating system. Now everyone understood what is the history of C language? Got the clarity?